Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. It's good to be here with you guys. Okay. Okay. Hi, Paula. Hi, Maria, Michelle, Bridget, Claire, Richard, Nudir, Lean, Solbrit, Helen, Sherry. Hi, Taylor. Hello, you guys. Hi, Corinne. It's good to see you, my friend. It's really good to be here. I'm really excited about this class. I have notes. It's going to be like a little mini master class. Yeah, for those of you that are new to our community, once a month I do a live monthly teaching on the theme. Our theme this month is creating in the unknown. I'm going to sit for a second and just drop in. I'm just going to close my eyes really quickly and just drop into the energy for a moment and get grounded, and then we will begin. I have a couple announcements, but I need to just close my eyes for one quick moment and ground in. If you want to join me, you can. I don't know why I'm feeling called to do this, but it just feels really scattered. It feels like there's so much distraction. There's so many voices, and there's just a lot going on. So I'm just going to close my eyes for a moment and relax my jaw. Please feel free to join, just dropping in for a quick second to just get present. Just getting clear, bringing God into the space, bringing God into the room, bringing God into the class. And letting ourselves get out of the way so that whatever wants to come through for us will be heard and seen and felt, received. And if nothing else, you get to be here in this moment, live or on the replay, and you just get to drop into giving yourself a moment of stillness or a moment of quiet, moment of connection. And just thanking God in advance for working through us, showing us what we need to see. Okay. All right. I don't know about you guys, but it has just really felt so chaotic in the world. Not in a bad way, not in a good way, just really just chaos, just loud, man, just loud. I feel like it just feels very loud in the external world. Not even anything in particular, just feels very loud. And I can't help but feel like the further we go into this beautiful evolution in our consciousness, the more we will see this the duality, the real split difference between things getting louder and louder, pulling us from direct divine connection with God. And this peace and calm that happens when we go straight to God, and no matter what's happening in our lives or on the planet. And then the direct opposite, the absolute opposite of that, which is the external world vying for your attention. Give me more of your attention. Listen to me. Follow me. Hear me. See me. See me. See me. And the lure of those sort of distractions. It's very, very interesting. our sensitivities are going to come online even more now. We're going to become even more sensitive. And I mean, I've been talking about this for years, but we're going to get more sensitive and more sensitive and more sensitive. It's going to feel like it's getting louder. And the question is, well, is it getting louder, or are we just becoming more sensitive and being redirected back into this divine, beautiful connection with God, which is the only place our attention should be first and foremost on God, all day, every day, in order to stay in this highest aligned state, where everything unravels for us in the most beautiful way. And how do we do that as the world gets louder? Anyway, before we start to talk about creating in the unknown, which is basically creating with Creator, with God, with divine Creator, I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, our book club next week, which is on the 23rd, has been moved from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. because I am doing a 40-day class. For those of you that are not aware, we are doing a 40-day class. It's called an Invitation with God, and we're going to be sitting every day for 40 days, connecting straight to God. And it will be every day, 8 a.m. California time for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, somewhere around there. It will be live on Zoom, and you'll have access to the replay. We have a whole bunch of, well, you get your SOAR 10 discount if you can't afford it. It's $99. If you can't afford it, great. But if you can't, we have that SOAR discount, which is SOAR 10. You get 10% discount. Then we also have a couple of other discounts if you need it. So reach out to Taylor and she will give you all the information. I hope you guys can join us. We start July 23rd and go until August 31st. I've never done anything for 40 days. And I need to sit with God every day. And so I thought, well, why not do it with everybody else on the planet? And let's see how our lives can transform by just very simply sitting with God instead of all these complex external things, right? Like, we need to do this and we need to do that, and I need to do the, it's like so complex. It's just getting so complex out there. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. And the more complex everything gets out there, the more it's like, it's supposed to be pretty simple. You just go straight to God. And it's like, well, what is that? What does that mean? How do we do that? Well, right? The human gets in the way of the simplicity of just recognizing God, the divine that is outside of you, and is also, there is an aspect of that divinity within you. Anyway, I can go on and on and on about that, but so our book club has been moved to 3 p.m. California time on the 23rd. Just a little reminder. If you have RSVP'd to the event, you should have gotten a little message or reminder. So just mark that on your calendars. 40 days, an invitation with God is starting. Registration is open. You can find the registration link. Let's see, where can you find it? On my website, you can find the registration link here in the global chat. You can email us and we can give you the registration link. Or somebody here will give you the registration link. We did a really powerful channeled message last week. I think it was last week or the week before. Really powerful channeled message. If you missed it, I highly recommend going and listening to it. It's with David Bowie, and it was really, really good. Very good. So go take a listen. We also did a bonus Q&A last week that was really good, and that's in our replay library as well. So take a listen to that. And last but not least, if you were on our group coaching call last week, the very first community member we had on was Nicole. She was literally in the car on her way to her doctor's office to see if she needed to be induced to have her baby. I think she was 39 weeks. She was nervous. She didn't want to induce it. She didn't want to have a C-section. Anyway, she was literally walking into the doctor's office as we got off the call. And I'm happy to announce that she let us all know with a beautiful picture of her baby boy, Nisha, that they did induce her. She did have a C-section, but it was a really powerful experience. She says she wouldn't have changed it for the world. And she sent us a picture of her beautiful baby boy. So if you did not hear her story, go ahead and listen to the very first person in our group coaching call, which we did last week. And also the update and the beautiful picture of her baby is in our global community chat. So I just wanted to let all of you know, if you were on the call, that she did have her little baby boy. She's well, daddy's well. The baby looks so peaceful. The baby, Nisha, almost looks like he's smiling, like, this is how I wanted it, you know? So it's a real beautiful example of getting out of the way and letting letting the divine orchestration of God show us what's best, that we always think we know, right? Our free will gets in the way and we think we know what's best. It's very self-serving. We do really live in a world where it's about me, I, self, right? I know best. This is what I want. I know how to do it. I can get myself there. And meanwhile, there's this beautiful divine orchestration that God has for our lives that's playing out in the background, that we don't listen to, that we don't trust, that we don't have faith in. And so we almost find ourselves fighting against life a lot of the time. Like, this shouldn't be happening. This is not the right thing. I'm going to figure out the right way. Some hairs in my eyes. I know what's best, etc. And we can argue for that until the cows come home. But eventually, I think a lot of us are going to recognize, oh, there's this hair somewhere in my face. I can't get it. I think we're going to start to recognize that there is this divinity playing out. And when we can stop fighting against, oh man, this is going to drive me nuts. Sorry, you guys. There's some hair in my face and I'm trying to grab it. When we start recognizing that there's this divine orchestration, there's this divine design, right? There's this beautiful power that's working for us. And if something's arising, maybe it's not a mistake. And really trying to figure out how to trust that. I'm going to put my hair up because there's a hair somewhere and I can't get it. It's frustrating me. Anyway, so Nicole gave us a really beautiful example of creating in the unknown. You know, she created a baby in an experience that she didn't want to have happen. Wasn't her plan. And so when we create from this place of co-creating with God, we are creating in the unknown. You know, she had no idea that was going to happen. And there was a lot of fear, and fear is created because we don't know what's going to happen. So we have this fear. And so the more that we can start creating with God, creating with the divine creator, that it's an absolute, that it's happening every second of every day. It takes patience, it takes practice. But as we start doing it more and more, and we start letting go, we start to see these most miraculous things unravel. You know, and then we start to trust in something that's way bigger than us, that is a part of us, but is much bigger and has a bigger plan for us. And as souls, we are deeply connected to that plan. But again, we play the human character as the I, the me, the self, and we get really wrapped in that. We get really consumed by me, self, I, control. And the soul is deeply connected to God, intimately embedded with God. And we are soul in the human flesh. So connecting more and more to that soul so that we can connect and really be intertwined with this creator God that is basically at the end of the day holding us, guiding us, and moving us through life with soul. It's a really interesting time to be on the planet, to be in this evolution, because it's It's a big leap from, you know, what we're going to talk about today is a big leap from uh, creating and manifesting and intending and being in control to handing it over to God. Okay, so I just wanted to give a couple of those shout outs. So super happy that Nicole had her little baby. And thank you, Nicole, if you're watching this, for showing or for sharing your little bundle of joy with us. Earthside now. Very, very, very happy for that. It was beautiful. Okay. And yeah, it's good to be here with all of you. So let's get going. If there aren't any questions about anything that I have spoken about, I did actually make notes for this class. It's going to be it's going to be fun. So here we go. So first and foremost, what we're talking about today is creating in the unknown. That is the theme for this entire month here in SOAR. And I want to start with what the definition for me of create is. And the definition of create is bringing into experience. So bringing something into an experience, experiencing something, that's create, in my opinion, right? Creating is bringing an experience in. So it's not necessarily felt yet, but even the simple awareness of something that you want to have an experience of can bring the experience in. Dude, if I don't find this freaking hair, I'm gonna, like, what is on my face? It's like I can feel something floating and it's driving me nuts. So sorry, you guys. My gosh, this is really weird. Okay, create, bringing into experience. And then what's the definition of unknown? The definition of unknown, the unknown is God, right? It's the unknown is when you create in the unknown, you're creating with God. You're creating with the divine creator. You can't see it. You'll never, well, a lot of us have seen God in the term in the expression of light, right? A big light comes in. When people have near-death experiences, they see the light, which is just God, right? Many of you have probably had experiences where you have seen this big flash of light. That's God. So creating in the unknown is bringing an experience in with God. Okay, so I want to ask you guys right now, I want to ask you guys, so before we get into the class, what would you like to bring into your life right now? Think of one experience, and we are not talking about manifestation today. I'm not a big fan of the whole manifestation thing that's happening on the planet right now. But so we're not talking about manifesting something or this is a whole different way of seeing creation in your life, right? So what's one thing that, aside from that, what I just said, what is one thing that you would like to bring into your life right now? What's one experience you would like to have? A feeling state, an actual physical thing you would like in your life? Um, uh, Something you really want? What is it, right? And think about it for a second and write it down somewhere. Put it here in the chat box if you would like to share it with us. But think about this for a moment. What's one thing that I would really like to have in my life right now? Maybe it's more peace. Maybe it's more money. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's a place of your own, a romantic relationship. To be aligned with love as a whole self, to love myself, a romantic partner. What else? Who else has something? Anyone else want to share what it is that they would like to bring into their lives? Joy, clarity, quiet neighbors, healing, financially secure, so I can pay off this beautiful place, health, flow. Okay, so great. Just take whatever it is, community, whatever it is that you would like to experience more of. I want you to just take that and place it on the shelf right now, right? Sit it next to you. So keep it in your a romantic partner, calm nervous system. Okay, financial security, lots of romantic partners. Okay, so place that desire, that intention, that experience you want right here next to you. And then we're going to start the class and then we're going to come back to that. Okay. All right. So, first of all, before I even get going, this essence of God, this beautiful light, it already knows before you ask what it is you're desiring in life. It hears you before you ask. Right. So we have this, sometimes we have this idea that that the only way to create is to ask for it, or the only way to create is to bring it into awareness. And what I'm going to share today is actually the best way to create is to start a conversation with God, because God already knows what you want. God's answered God's 10 feet in front of, like 10 steps ahead of you. Right. And so what God does when you start co-creating with God is that God starts to drop the little hints in front of you along your journey. And then you get this hit of like, oh, I would love a romantic partner. And what's actually happening is you're starting to tap into or feel God working in front of you, you know? And so the more that we can start having a conversation with God outside of these are the things that I want, this is what I want to create, I'm going to start creating. When you start doing that, you're separating yourself from God. I'm going to create this. This is what I want next. I'm going to be in that feeling state of it, and then I'm going to bring it in. But what if this is driving me crazy? Odd. What is it? Why can't I get it off of me? I literally feel like there's something like fuzzy right here. Oh my God, you guys, I'm going to lose my mind. So sorry. I'm really sorry. I feel like something's like brushing me. Oh my God. Like a feather. Okay. So I want you to imagine that this creation is creating with God, and God already knows. God's 10 steps ahead of you. And so just keep that in your awareness. Okay, so how we create today on the planet, all right? How we manifest, how we build the life we want is very self-focused. So the first thing I want us to recognize is that creating, manifesting, intending, building the life we want is very self-focused, which is okay. It's part of what being human is about, right? Learning about the self, what the self likes, what the self wants. We live in a physical reality. We get all these things from the external world. Makes sense. Self-focused creation is this is what I want. It's about me. It's about self-control, self-creation, me, I. And so what we say to ourselves is, what would fill me up? I would like to feel this. What do I need to feel dot? What do I need to feel happy? Oh, I would like more money. What do I need to feel more secure? Oh, I need this. What do I need to feel more loved? This. What do I need to feel happier in life? Right. So it's if I have this, I will feel dot. And again, I want to preface that there's nothing wrong with manifesting, creating, intending, even our question of what would I like to bring into my life, a romantic partner. There is nothing wrong with these desires. But what I'm going to point out today is there is a deeper way to co-create in your life that is beyond the things you think you need in order to have the life you want. Okay? So a deeper creating is actually not, it's a creation where you are connecting to God, and then God, the connection and relationship with God supersedes all of the things that you think you need to manifest and create. And so you relax and let go of the need for these things or the desire for these things, okay, all the external things. And then that which is for your highest good plays out. So essentially what we first want to look at is all the things we desire. And why do we desire them, right? And letting that be okay. Of course we want a romantic partner. Of course we want financial security. Of course we want to pay off our bills. Of course we want health. Of course we want all these things. We're human. But what happens when I recognize those desires, and I begin to build a relationship first with God? So instead of focusing on the things I want to create, which 80% of the world is doing right now, they're focused on what they want. They're focused on their desires. They're focused on creating things. They're not focused on God. And when you start focusing and putting God first, that is actually the fastest way to whatever it is you're trying to create, then that which you are trying to create through your own self, me, I, will arise much faster in different ways than you could possibly imagine. And so it becomes not your plan, but God's plan. So there's a letting go and letting God, right? So instead of going this way, vertically to the things you want, you go horizontal? What's this one? Vertical. You go vertical instead of horizontal. So the world is horizontal. It's looking out at the external. Again, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely nothing wrong with making more money, creating all these things, right? But if there is an awareness around this of like, wow, it's all horizontal. What happens when I go vertical? When I go vertical, then I have absolute faith and trust in God and in life. And I don't have to worry about the horizontal because God's going to take care of the horizontal even better than I could. Okay, so the first way we create right now on the planet is it's very self-focused. It's very horizontal. These are the things I want. I know how to get there. I'm going to create it. Off I go, and it works, right? The second thing is that we create from a deficit. We create from a need for something, whether we realize it or not. So we create from what we want to feel, what we want to experience, what we want, right? So it stems from a deficit, as if it's not already here. And this isn't about, oh, just feel it now and then you'll have it, because that too is very self-focused, right? It's very like, if I just feel abundant now, I'll be abundant. Very self-focused. Okay. So again, we create from a need or a deficit, a need for something. There's nothing wrong with this, but let's just be aware of what we're doing, because the evolution in human consciousness is going to require us, it's going to ask of us to do things in very different and new ways. And this is one of the really big, in my opinion, expansive ways that we're being pulled right now that's going to be very difficult. Okay. And you may not feel like you need something, But most of us, if we're humble enough, we feel like we need it in order to feel ... So it does require a humbleness, a getting on our knees to really admit, yeah, I have a desire and a need for this because it's going to make me feel ... Okay. We at least need to get humble enough to be able to say, yeah, I want more money because if I have more money, I'm going to feel more secure. Of course. If you can't get to that raw, brutal, authentic truth, you're going to be bypassing the letting go, the absolute surrender that needs to happen in order to really work directly and connect directly with God. You're going to be bypassing it, meaning you'll go to God, you'll start trying to connect with God, having conversation with God. Oh, I don't need these things. I'm good. I'm just going to go straight to God. No, I don't need that money. That's so superficial. It's so materialistic. Of course, I don't need this. Of course, I don't need that. It's all just desire, and we shouldn't have desire, right? So you're negating the human experience. Like, no, you have desires, you have needs, you have wants. They create feeling states for us. It's very real. So that we have to really be humble to that, because true surrendering happens in that real, vulnerable, humble place. Right? So I'm not in any way advocating for not having desires and needs. I'm trying to bring us to this awareness that when you go deep into the awareness of those desires and needs, and we start to really pick them apart and recognize them from a different lens, right? You start to see how everything really is very self-focused, horizontal, and it's designed that way on the human, on the planet. It's designed that way. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just how we live. And what happens when I start to go vertical, straight to this divine source, this light that everyone sees when they die, right? This light that so many have seen when they've had profound experiences, this light. What happens when I go there first? What happens to my needs and desires? Do they still pull me in the same way? They won't. All of a sudden, the needs and the desires and the manifestations start to become very strange in a way, because you realize that when you go straight to God, you have everything you need. And yet you're still in the human experience, so you're going to have those desires. But the more you connect straight vertically to God, that light, you have such a faith that whatever's going to happen horizontally is going to be taken care of by God. And you start opening your eyes to the winks and the signs, the curveballs. Okay. So one, the way we create on the planet is it's self-focused. I want this. What will make me feel better? If I have this, I will feel that. It's very normal, very human. I'm not saying we don't have desires and needs. Just saying that's how we create. Number two, we create from that need, that deficit. We want something, right? And I'll go on to number three is that it creates a loop. So we're constantly in this loop of chasing something. Once I have this, then I'm going to feel this. And then once I get it, now I'm going to create something else. Now I'm going to create something else. Now I'm going to create something else, right? So creating from the space of self-centeredness, self, I, me, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is going to make me feel better, this is, whatever that is, it's how the human lives. They live in loops. Okay, now I have this, I'm going to get this. Now I have this, I'm going to get this. Whether it's a feeling state, whether it's a physical thing, whether it's a relationship, it doesn't matter. And again, it's part of the human experience. And it keeps us in this horizontal, I, self-centered space over and over and over again. It's just something to ponder. It doesn't have to be your truth, but just start to be curious around this loop and how we'll argue for that loop. Right? It's just something to think about. Um, the fourth thing that happens in creation on this planet is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like a trap. And what I mean is that it works. So it's a you get caught in the trap. And if it works, you're going to keep doing it. Manifestation works. Intending, creating works because it's energy. It doesn't mean it's the highest outcome for our lives, but it works. And if it works, it's like Pavlov's dog, right? Like if you ring the bell and you get a treat, you're going to keep ringing the bell, right? So, or whatever Pavlov's thing is, right? I think they ring the bell and they get the treat, or does the scientist ring the bell and I can't remember. I think the dog rings the bell and it gets a treat. Yeah. That's manifestation. That's desiring all these things in the external world. And if it happens, if you're able to do it, then you just want to keep doing it. Again, pay attention. There's nothing wrong with this, but it is a disconnection from God, as difficult as that can be for people. It's separate from God, even if you think God is only in you, right? And that God is everything, which people will argue. I would argue back that is your focus on God, whether it's God inside of you or God out there, or is your focus on manifesting things? Right? And where is what do you look at first, God or what I want to create? And this is a real hard, difficult, humble truth that a large percentage of us won't drop into yet, which is okay. But it is the evolution in human consciousness. We are designed to create from the lens of God, not from the lens of physical desire and wants and needs. If you think back to how the planet existed millions of years ago with very, very high frequency humans, they didn't create out of a desire or a need for anything. They didn't create out of greed. They didn't create out of self, me, I want more. How do I get more? They didn't create out of desire from a deficit in a way. They simply just created with God in the now, which means that whatever was arising in the now was the co-creation between them and this essence of God. So God and soul were just creating everything they needed in that moment, and then what they needed next, and then what they needed next. So there was a lack of desire or need because they knew that everything that they needed or everything that would sustain them would be presented in the now. So that's the other thing with creation. It's future focused. When you create with God, it's now focused. Okay, so we have self-focused. You're creating from a deficit in a way. It's a loop, so we're chasing something. We're chasing our tail. It's a trap because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where once I receive it, I just keep wanting more. That's what greed is. It's very, very seductive. Manifesting is very seductive because it works. And if it works, it feels good. And if it feels good, you want more of it. And so it's part of the allure of being in the human experience right now. But from the lens of evolution and human consciousness, these are not the ways that we will be creating as we evolve. It won't be future focused. Basically, when this happens, then I'll have this. And even if the manifestation technique is feel it now, it's still a self-focused, self-fulfilling prophecy that you are waiting on, because otherwise you wouldn't need to create the feeling state. So when you start really co-creating in the unknown with God, you're creating from this now. So whatever's arising is the creation, right? But there is a the human does have to create a plan or have an intention of some sort, but it has to know that God's going to erase that in every moment, right? Which I'll get to. So it's future focused, most of it. And this type of creation pulls us from God because we are staying in control. So if we are in control, it is pulling us from God. That's why it can be, in my opinion, a little dangerous to say, I am God, because it gives us permission to be in charge. And the you that is in charge is not the God aspect. It's not soul. How do I know? Because soul doesn't have desire like that. Soul creates in a now with God. And so soul knows and trusts that God's going to show, God's going to provide. Now, I'll talk about this in a second, how there has to be a conversation, an awareness, a connection, a communion with God. But what's sort of happening on the planet is this idea that I am God, and if I am God, I know best. And on one level of reality, it is true, you are God. But we are not at the level of consciousness to understand how to live from that state of being yet. And it takes a lot of humility to admit to that there is way too much patterning and programming, mind control, manipulation, thought, trauma, all of these things that still keep us in this real potent human character, which is beautiful. We should be in the human character. We are in a human character experience. So what we're learning is how to recognize even more this really deep, ingrained character we're playing, and how the absolute opposite of that human character is the divine connection with God. And how do we start to intertwine these? And if we simply just go, well, I am God, and so I'll figure it out, it's like you're trying to, it's like you're being dropped into the Monopoly game and you don't have the directions, and you're like, well, I know that I'm not the game. I know I'm just playing this character. I'm going to figure it out. And it's very challenging. But if God says, here are the directions, and you're like, oh my God, I can relax. I can play this game now, right? But a lot of people will fight against having the directions. No, I know how to do this. I know that I'm not this game. I know that, like, they do this. So it takes a lot of humility to say, yes, I'm an aspect of that God, but I am not the creator. I came from, you're an aspect. You split from that creator. You'll go back to that creator. But right now, you're playing a real intense human character that's designed to pull you from that creator. And the humility of that. Yes, there's an aspect of that light within us. There's an aspect of God within us. But the true hack to finding this joy, this peace, this calm is this vertical connection to God. Otherwise, we will get really lost in the sauce. And anything that is in a controlled state is not God. Anything. Okay, so we have self-focused, we have create from a need, a deficit, we have that loop that we do, we get trapped in our self-fulfilling prophecies. It works, we just keep doing it. It can be very future-focused, not from a present moment right now. All is exactly the way it's supposed to be. There are no mistakes type of feeling. When we stay in control and try to do it all, it pulls us from God because God is out of control. When we connect with God, we are out of the control, right? Let go, let God. That's the true creation. And then the last one is the real powerful and potent energy of this greedy kind of feeling, like which is sneaky, seductive, alluring, and greed isn't necessarily just money, but it's like you want more. It's like a self-soothing energy. When I get this, I feel better. And now I just want more of that. I want more of that better feeling. I want more of that abundance feeling. I want more of that feeling like I connect. We think that it's these external things, or even certain internal feelings we want to feel. If there's a sense of like, more of that please, more of that please, more of that please, right? And when we start to have this vertical connection straight to the feeling of the unknown, God, I don't know, I'm not sure, cross my fingers type of feeling, then this absolute divine surrendered peace comes over you. Not a peace that you're trying to find or you're creating. It's this overarching sort of peace that's designed to be experienced by the human character. It's a calm, it's a grace, it's a faith, it's a trust. And that is why this is such an important sort of conversation to have, is because first we have to look at, and we have to be humble to, how we are being on this planet, how we've been created to be. And it's in some ways getting more challenging to not be in control, because when there's a lot of chaos on the planet, we want to stay in more control. Or when it's very easy to create all this money and all this abundance because we've tapped into how energy works, right? And so now we're just creating all this money all the time, or whatever it is. Then we get stuck in the loop. And so the key, before we move on, the key is that, am I in a state of control, or am I in a state of letting God? And really humbling ourselves and asking that question. There's nothing wrong. I just want to state this, that there's nothing wrong with how we do this human experience and having the desires and the needs. That is a natural part of being human, is having desire, having needs. It's not going anywhere. But what it is that we need to understand is that we create, and we will find what it is these intentions or manifestations are trying to bring to us. We will find that in a present moment state through our connection with God in the unknown, allowing for the moment to show us, while we simultaneously still play the character of planning, of preparing, of focusing on where I'm going. Like the lion, right? It's like you're focused on what you want to feel, the feeling state. You're focused on, I want a better house. Okay, I want a bigger house, or I want more financial security, or I want a partner. Okay, so you're focused on it. The human character. So let's get clear on this. The human character is focused on it, like the lion, right? It knows it's going to go there. All right. So first, let's just be aware this is very me focused. That's perfect. Okay, so what? This is still what I would like. I would love a romantic partner. Great. Desire, part of human experience. One, it's very self-centered. It's focused on me. I know that. So what? Right? It's creating from the deficit. I don't have the partner. Correct. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be in some like spiritual bypassing where I'm like, I have no need. I have no desire. I am one with everything. I am God. I don't have a deficit. I have the partner now, right? No, you wouldn't be creating something if you didn't have the deficit of it. Okay. The loop I'm going to get into, like, okay, I don't realize it now, but once I have this partner, am I going to have a desire for something else? Of course I will. Okay, so that's the loop. Just be aware of that. Is it a trap? Meaning, once I get it and I realize I have it, am I going to realize that I can create more? Yes, of course. Okay. Is it future focused? 100%. I don't have a partner now. I would like a partner. Okay. Is it me being in control? Yes, in one sense it is, because I am the lion looking forward saying, this is what I would like to bring into my life. Perfect. Is that focus on something, or is it a focus on God? It's a focus of me controlling some sort of outcome. Okay. And does it have some sort of energy of greed to it, like I want something. It's going to do something for me. In all honesty, yeah. So again, the more authentically humble and honest we can get, not spiritual, not like, oh no, we don't pretend, right? Like, let's get real. When we can do that in our full, transparent, authentic human character, then we will start to find the absolute glory of going straight to God in order to actually create in the unknown, which is your highest outcome. So there will be some confusion in this where people may think, and they will not like this also. People won't like this. But there will be some confusion around, oh, well, you're saying not to have desire. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, of course, you're going to have desire. Of course, you're going to have intentions. We started with, what would you like to bring into your life? And then what I'm saying is, I'm going to take this to a different level of outcome that most of us haven't experienced yet, which is creating with God. So first we have to recognize how we actually authentically, humbly, transparently create, and why, we spend all the hundreds of thousands of dollars on all of these self-help things, when we can truly just go right to God. Okay, so phase 2, how do we create with God in the unknown? So first of all, what is God? God is the creator. It's the light that created everything. And everything is connected to that one universal kind of light. Right? And so so who are you? You're an aspect of that light. You're an aspect of God. So you are like this, but here's your little light, right? Here's God. Here's your little light. So you are an aspect of this light. You're in the light. You're with God. You're one with it, and you're also separate. You're playing this character. You are in a physical, separate form right now. There is this overarching divine creator that in one level you are connected to because you came from it. So there is a connection, but you are in a separate physical reality, even though God is still right here. So that's what's so beautiful about and unique about the human experience, is that there is an awareness, or there is an awareness that is offered, that gives us this perspective. And then we learn and we start practicing how to be in the physical character of human, connecting to this creator, this divine creator. And if we simply stay self-focused, I am God, then we are missing out on the bigger evolutionary shift, which is that I'm an aspect of God playing a character. But when I go to this creator, this greater creator source, something very potent and profound happens in and through the human experience. And that's where humanity's at. Humanity is at this pivotal point where it's no longer about me, I, self, and there is this humble surrendering deeper to this, which then creates this shift in consciousness where this divine source is activated in the human experience. We don't activate it. When we let go, it gets activated. So most of humanity is still in some sort of control over their experience of God. And so the way that we are here to kind of step into this next level of creation and really evolution and consciousness is letting go. So we have to create in the unknown now. We have to start to learn how to be in how God designed us to create with God, co-creation. So how does this creator co-create on the planet through you? Okay, so the creation is any creation that you have needs to be seen through the lens that actually God's creating through you. You're a vessel. You came onto the planet to be a vessel for that God divinity to work through you. And so if we the real dangerous, seductive place that humanity is in is the external world pulling them from God coming in and doing its work. You'll find that as you look out in the world, it's like it's anyways. Okay, so what's the number one way that God creates with you in the unknown? Service. So God's desire, source divinity's desire, is different than the human character's desires. God's desire, your soul's desire, is to be of service. So this entire experience and coming down onto the planet is to be of service, to let God work through you. Okay, so how do you be of service? Compassion, forgiveness. It could be an act of service, right? Where you're literally being of service as your job. It can be a smile. It can be patience. It can be listening to somebody throughout your day. It can be donating money, giving somebody money. There are 1,000 different ways that we get to be of service. But when you start to create in the unknown, your lens goes from what do I want to how can God work through me as service? When we start to do that, our desires for everything we want becomes second to the actual vertical connection to God and how God wants to work through you. And when that happens, everything that is for your highest good plays out. Again, it goes from the self to God, right? So my desire may not be God's desire. The light of who you are is desire is most likely not your desire, which is fine. But God's going to try to work through you as best as possible. So how do we balance the human character's desire with God's desires? Because we are human. We want houses and cars and relationships and communities and health. We want all these things. But how do we put God's desire first? God, create through me. So we say, God, show me my highest outcome. Again, there's a humility to really recognizing that if I keep thinking that I can do this on my own, I will humbly and authentically and transparently get caught in the illusion that I know what's best. God, show me my highest outcome. My desire may not be God's desire. So that's the first thing. The most important thing is service. Number 2 is presence. God creates through presence. So God works in the here and now. God only works in the here and now. So in the here and now, the way you work with that awareness and with God is through gratitude and faith. Finding gratitude in your life and having faith that it's all perfectly designed to show you what you need to see next. God doesn't turn its back. This essence, this divine creator doesn't turn its back on you. It is constantly 24/7, 7 days a week, dropping little breadcrumbs, winks, hints, hits, feelings of like, oh, I think I should go do this. Oh, I think I need to do this. Those are winks or hints from God. We call it intuition or whatever it is, but it's God working into you through soul to get you to go to what is for the next highest good. If something horrible, quote unquote horrible, happens, it's God trying to get your attention. So everything is happening for you. Everything is, there are no mistakes in it. So again, it's in presence. What's right here, right now? What am I feeling? What am I experiencing? What's happening in the right here, right now? How present can I be in it? What is my knee-jerk reaction to it? And instead of falling into that knee-jerk reaction, for instance, Nicole, right? Right in the right here, right now in her life, she was on her way to the doctors to see if she would have to be induced. What was her knee-jerk reaction? Fear. Because her plan, her focus of where she wanted to go or how she wanted it to be wasn't happening. So anger, fear, resistance, natural response. And then what happens if she says, wait a second, I am with God. God is working here with me 24/7. How can I bring that awareness in? How can I walk with that right now? How can I know that? And she relaxed. She invited God in. Okay, maybe the Nicole character doesn't know what's best. Where can I find gratitude? How can I have faith? That's how God creates on the unknown, faith. Everything I need is right here. I don't have to like it, but everything I need is right here. God, let's start doing this together. Help me, show me, remind me. It doesn't make sense until it starts making sense. You won't trust it until you start trusting it. And the more you trust this, the more you will realize how you have been trying to control your entire life. Everything I need is right here. And then you say, God, I trust you to provide. I trust you to provide. I trust you to show me. I trust you to show me. The third way to create in the unknown with God. So the first is that it's service. It's always service. Number 2, it's always in presence. And number 3, you have to start to communicate with God on a daily, all throughout your day, not just in the morning, in a daily practice in the morning, not just at night in your daily, I'm talking all day long, every day you are in communion or communication with God, which means that you are aware that there is this divine creator that's with you, connected, watching, working through you, speaking through you. There is a constant awareness that something else is with you all day long. Game changer. But it takes practice, daily practice. That's why I am adamant that all of this distraction on the planet is designed to pull us from God. Because the louder it can be, the more we will be focused on it and not focused on God. And the highest outcome for humanity, the most miracles for humanity, is when we start to focus straight onto God and not this horizontal physical reality that is going to pull us. So when we start to communicate with God, we start to talk daily to God. Daily. And there is something profound that happens when you start to talk to this God outside of you. Because again, it gets very blurry when you start to try to talk to the God inside of you. There's layers in there. It gets complicated. There's still this sense of you doing it. But when you go first, to this divinity, this divine creator, you go to it, and then it pings back to the God in you, right? Dunk, dunk, right? Things start to change. So you start to feel God daily. You start practicing just having a conversation. God, I'm inviting you in. God, where are you? God, show me. God, give me a sign. God, be with me right now. God, how would you see this? So the statement that you say is, I know God is right here with me. And then, God, thank you. This is one of the most profound, simple statements that will change your life. God, thank you. God, thank you. God, thank you. The fourth way to create in the unknown, to create with God, to change your whole life, basically, is understanding what the unknown feels like, getting familiar with the unknown, because that is God's language. God will not give you a plan. God will not hand it to you in advance. God only works in the unknown, which means that you don't know until you know. You won't be able to see it. You can't plan for it or expect it. So again, let's talk about the balancing between the human character co-creating with God, the unknown. You have a plan. I want this partner. I want this money. Okay, well, everyone tells me that the way you manifest is you have to feel it now. Fine, I'm going to feel it now. I'm going to feel it now. I'm going to feel it now. Going back to the beginning of our class, are you aware of what's happening? Are you aware that you're controlling something, that you have a desire for something, that you may be in the self-fulfilling prophecy? Are you just aware of what's happening? That's it. Okay, so you have a plan. You're moving into the feeling state. You're going to start creating these things in your life if you're not already. Then you start saying, am I going horizontal? Am I going vertical to God? Next question you want to ask yourself, right? If you're humble and authentic and transparent, you're going to say, pretty vertical. Okay, so what happens if I start to bring in God in this plan I have, in this feeling state of creation? What happens when I when I move my focus sideways to going up, when I look up? You start to let go. It's a natural feeling state if you really start to do this. If you have a plan, you have a manifestation, you have all this stuff you're doing, but then you look up and say, okay, God, create. You let go. your plan will erase. You'll try to grab it. You'll try to hold on to it. But when you start connecting vertically straight up and you start looking up, you realize what it means to actually let go. You start realizing what it means to let God. You start realizing, oh my God, I am here for so much more. There is so much more that God wants to do through me. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to look. I know that these are the things I want, but they may not be for my highest good. I know the world wants to tell me that these are all the things that are for my good, highest good, but I don't know. God knows. How deeply do I have faith in that? How deeply do I trust that? Right? So you have to let go of knowing, you have to let go of control. It's a co-creation between your plan and God erasing your plan. So then the statement is, I don't need to know in order to trust God. I don't need to know in order to trust God. And then you say, God, I trust you. God, I trust you. I let go so you can show me. God, I trust you. I let go so you can show me. So the steps to practice, okay? 5 steps to practice this. Aside from first just recognizing how we create and how we manifest and how we do life. So the horizontal versus the vertical. First, just getting aware of that. And then just asking, am I looking horizontal out or am I looking up? Because even looking inward, it's still not fully letting go. It just isn't. Literally feel what it feels like to look up. That's why when you get on your knees, there is something profound that happens. When you literally get on your knees and pray, magic will happen in your life. So when you look up, it feels very disempowering, right? It may feel that way to some people. It may be very difficult to do that. It's because you're letting go of this egoic persona that has believed that it has the answer, that it is soul. So I know how to do this. I am God. I am soul. Except that you're not actually in the being state of soul yet. Otherwise, you would look up. Soul is constantly looking up at God because it knows that that is what is directing it. Soul doesn't look inward in order to find itself. Soul knows it's inside a physical vessel and that it has to look out and see and be connected to God. The persona that we're playing says, no, 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 it's all inward. Neglecting the actual submission in a way that needs to happen to fully surrender to the human experience. So here are the steps. 1, daily connection with God, daily communication. Part of why I'm doing 40 days with God. Daily conversation. Just talk to God. Talk to God. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. There's no should. There's no shouldn't. It's your natural state. Number 2, listen and see the little hints, the signs, the winks, the way in which God is going to communicate with you. And don't make it so like, I don't feel anything. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. There isn't anything happening. Let that go. It's so interesting because as I've been following Jesus more and more and listening to people that have been, that are what you would call Christians or Catholics, they have no problem hearing Jesus. It's just they just hear Jesus all the time. They get winks from God all the time. They don't live in a state of like, I don't hear anything, I don't see anything, I don't feel anything, I don't think he's with me. They don't have that experience. It's like it's a state that we have in the more spiritual communities where it's like, I don't feel anything, I don't hear anything, I'm not connected. But somehow, like in the real religious, like dogmatic places, they hear Jesus all the time. They're connected to God. They know God's with them. They converse with God. They get winks from God. Like they don't have any doubt. This real big doubt is from what I'm starting to become aware of is like the doubt is in the real intense spiritual communities. They don't trust. It's very strange. So let God show you in a very surrendered way without an expectation of, I'm not hearing anything, I'm not seeing anything, there's no winks, just let that all go and just start living with God every day and see what happens. See how it unravels for you. I guarantee you, if you start to just open to just conversing with this God, you'll see these hints and these winks and these signs more and more. Recognize step number 3 is you want to always default to the unknown, which is just trust not knowing. Start trusting not knowing more and see what happens. Because the more we can get comfortable in the not knowing, the more we will have faith and trust in God and in life. So we've got to start getting more and more comfortable in not knowing. So the default is in the unknown. It's truly the natural state. If you live in presence, you live in the unknown. You don't know what's next. All you know is what's right now. All you know is what's right here, right now. That's it. That is living in the unknown because you don't know what's coming next. That truly is absolute present or now. That's the natural state. That's absolute divine connection with God. Number 4, co-create. You want to really just co-create. So you're creating, you're planning. If we go back to what do you want to create right now and you think about what it was you wanted to create, great. Recognize that. And then look up and say, all right, God, let's do this. Show me. And let your plan go. Let your desire go. Let your expectation go. Desire and then let go. Create and then let go. Plan and then let go. That's how you create in the unknown. You don't get rid of desire. You don't get rid of what you want. You don't get rid of those things. Oh, I shouldn't have these things. You will eventually find yourself in a place where when you just go vertical to God, you won't be creating in the same way. It won't feel right. It'll feel weird, right? But until then, we get to create and desire and have these needs. And so what? Just do it with God and watch how when you go vertical with God, what it is that you think you need and want starts to dissolve because God takes care of all of it. God fills you up. God's the relationship you want. God's the money that you want. God's the big house you want. God fills you up, activates your soul, activates your light within you, the God particle, and then all these external things that we think we want, we don't want anymore. We start to realize, oh my God, I just want to be of service, which is God's number one way of creating is service. So number 4, the co-creation. Plan and then let go. Desire and then let go. Create and then let go. Go vertical, but go horizontal, but go vertical. And then number 5 is be receptive, be open. Be open. Show me. Be open. versus resistant to the change, which is control. It needs to look like this. It has to be like this. So if you think about back to the example of Nicole, right? Resistance is, oh my God, this shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening? I don't want this to happen. Resistance is control. Very normal. It's what we do. Receptivity is God's plan. I have faith. And look at this beautiful baby came out happy, healthy, mama's healthy, baby's healthy, everything's perfect, everything's great, everything was okay. So am I receptive and open, living in faith, or am I resistant and in control and not wanting to let go and see how God wants to unravel this? It requires us taking action every day. We're constantly, that's the co-creation, is that you have to wake up and you have to go do life. God isn't doing life, you are. Co-creation is that God's working through you every single moment, every breath you take. So how do you let God in? How do you let God in? So if we ask ourselves again, going back to what do I want to, what was the question we asked? What would I like to bring into my life right now, right? And now if we look at what it is we want to bring into our lives, an hour and a half later, we look at what we want to bring into our lives now from this perspective of horizontal and vertical. Can you see it a little bit differently? It doesn't mean you don't still want it. Of course, we still want those things. But is there a tiny bit of a shift in the perspective of that desire, that intention, that creation? Does it feel different? Is there a different way that you're feeling into it? The whole reason that I think this is such an important conversation, and the whole reason I'm doing 40 days with God, is because one, it's the next level, it's the next shift in human consciousness, in my opinion. But this may take years for humanity to step into. And two, it is where the human character is designed to live from, is this divine connection to creator source. And when we do this, it breaks the illusion that we need these things. And then we start to see the ways in which these states of being, like lust, greed, gluttony, we start to see how they have been controlling humanity for so long and pulling us from the vertical awareness of God. And when we do the vertical awareness of God, it creates more calm. No matter what's happening in the world, it creates more peace. No matter what's happening in the world, it creates more connection. No matter what's happening in the world, it creates more ease and grace. No matter what's happening in the world, and no matter what's happening in your life, because chaos is going to continue. Confusion continues. Distraction continues. Like life continues to unravel and be in an upheaval almost. It has to, because how else is it going to get the human awareness to recognize its true nature, which is soul and body divinely connected to the creator? No matter how you see the matrix, no matter how you see the third dimensional game, no matter how you see what we're in, we have to still break out of it through this divine connection. And it is a breaking out. It's almost like you have to break out of, you have to peel apart the game and plug directly into creator. If we don't plug in my opinion, if we don't start plugging straight into creator, the physical reality that we're in with all the distortions will pull us from the highest timeline for humanity. So it'll just delay it in a way. It's inevitable. I mean, humanity is going down this evolutionary shift in consciousness. So it's inevitable that eventually, at some point, a large majority of the human population will understand this and live this way. But this is going to be a doozy of a jump because the physical world is so fun. You know, physical desires are so great. Having things is so incredible. Enjoying the lavish things in life, enjoying the finer things in life. It's part of what's so great about this physical reality, this physical experience. But if it is not experienced through the lens of God first, then it is corrupted. It is in control. It's disconnecting the human awareness to its divine nature. It's very tricky. Very tricky. Does anybody have Gita? It's so peaceful to connect, and it's like walking in another world. It's 100% like you're walking in another world. It's kind of wild because you feel like almost like, yeah, you're very much like that statement, you're in the world but not of the world. And not because you are meditating yourself into some vibrational state, not because you're meditating in order to handle the world. You're not doing anything but connecting to God. Just daily, nonstop connection with God. There isn't anything you have to do in order to do that. Right? There isn't a practice you need. There isn't it's just a date. It's a nonstop commitment to conversing with God. And when you start doing that, your whole reality shifts. It's a gift that's it's free. It doesn't require letting go of anything, healing anything, fixing anything. And then you start walking around realizing, oh my God, the allure, the seduction of this world is truly pulling people from God. It's wild. So wild. It's And I also want to state that, like, what I've been noticing in my own teachings for the last 7 years is what I've started to kind of come to terms with is typically what I teach is not the most popular opinion or teaching at the time. And so it's sort of a new thought or a new, it's not held by the majority of humanity, and so it's very different. You could almost say that it butts up against a lot of how humanity is still feeling, being, and seeing the world. 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was teaching things that a large percentage of humanity now uh, speaks about. And so I find myself doing this now where it's like, oh, I'm starting to uh, speak on something that might not be the most popular thing or what most people are doing, because the world is very loud and distracting, pulling people into a different place. But 5 years from now, I guarantee you, a large majority of people, hopefully, will be letting go of all the things that they thought they needed. They'll start to get real, true, and humble with. They'll start to become very authentic. 10 years from now. This is a big jump. This is a big collective jump, right? That what I'm speaking of. A big jump, but it doesn't have to be, I guess. But it is a big one. Does anybody have any questions before I get going? Any questions about this teaching, creating the unknown? I'm sure there's tons of questions, but this is a big thing to digest. It's like it slowly kind of drops in. If it resonates with you, it slowly drops in. You'll start to kind of just have awarenesses around it. But any questions? I'd love to answer any questions that popped up. Can someone make a visual for this? Victoria. Hi, Victoria. Can someone make a vision? Someone want to draw this? This was great. The replay will definitely need to be watched a couple of times. Yeah, I highly recommend maybe putting this one on like I don't know, like on an MP3 file where you can just listen to it. I was just thinking yesterday how to detach and go with the flow while still having desires, just in time. Yes. So interesting how that happens. That's a God wink. So if a partner, abundance, etc., is for me, highest good, it will come if I let go and let God. It something will happen. Something's always happening. If it's for your highest good, 100%. 100%. You can't miss it. You know that phrase everybody always says, if it's meant for you, you can't miss it. That's basically let go, let God. So you can't really let go. It's very difficult to let go. Like, how do I let go? I don't know how to let go. So I like to think of it in terms of just talking to God, looking up, right? Because when we start talking about getting into like, well, how do I let go? It's very difficult to let go. Like, okay, I want you to just let go of the desire. It's like, well, I don't know how. Letting go is it's very difficult to figure out how to let go. So it's less about it's less about like I need to let go of this, and it's more about having a conversation with God, inviting God in. What if God was here with me? How would God move me through this? Is this me doing this, or is this me handing it to God, or asking God to do this co-creation with me? It's getting curious with that, as opposed to I need to let go. It's almost impossible for humans to let go. It's the same thing as I want you to try to pick up that pen. It's like, what do you mean try to pick it up? you'll go like this, right? It's like, no, you just picked up the pen. I want you to try to pick up the pen. It's impossible to try to pick up the pen. Okay, you either pick up the pen or you leave the pen down. It's the same thing with letting go. I want you to let go. I don't know how to try to pick up the pen. I'm either letting go or not letting go, right? Now, picking up a pen is easy. Our mind just tells our brain tells the hand to pick. We understand that, but letting go, we don't understand how to do yet. You can't let go. It's a verb. It's not a verb, right? Try. It's of that. It's that trying is a verb. You can't. You will either let go or not let go in each moment. So the practice of letting go is letting God. Let God, which means, hi, God, I know you're there. I know you're working with me. I know you're trying to help me. I'm like, let's do this together. Like, how would you see this? Keep showing me, keep guiding me, direct me, that kind of thing. And then you'll naturally start letting go more and more. How do you stay connected to God when you are not used to it? You don't. You can't stay connected to God until you are starting to stay connected to God. So what you want to do is you just want to practice connecting with God. You just practice becoming aware that God's with you. Is God here? I don't feel God. Yes, I feel God. Let me start talking with God. What is there a God? Is there a light around me? No, there's like, how does it work for you? You just want to open to the conversation and curiosity of God being with you all the time. And that you do or don't feel it today, tomorrow, right now, and all of that is okay as well. You're literally just becoming more and more curious with God. So it's not so much you need to figure out how to stay connected to God. You already are connected to God 24/7, 7 days a week, every second, every breath, every blink of an eye. You are in direct connection with God. You have never not been connected to God. There is no disconnection. The disconnection is where your lens is. What are you focused on? Am I solely focused on success, building relationships, finding more money, going on vacations? Or am I focused on God first, which means I'm going to go up to God first and then everything else comes second? So you're just getting curious where your awareness is, where your lens is, what you're focused on. Get curious with God. Because you can't, again, it's like a verb. How do I stay connected? That's a verb, right? You can't stay connected. You're always connected. So it's more of a practice of being aware. Do you, Lori, you love reading things sometimes, may have to rewatch and write it up. Yes, write it up. It's hard to surrender from a mind aspect. Yeah, that's why it's so easy when you've just had enough. Yep. For me, it's a feeling state. You can feel the calm as soon as you close your eyes after taking a deep breath. 100%. God is a feeling state. 100 billion percent. And the feeling state, the reason the feeling state is so profound is it validates that God's here because you start to feel God. You start feeling this essence of God, this light. And you'll feel it around you perhaps, and you'll feel it in you. It's an overwhelming sense of peace. Just by closing your eyes and taking a breath, God's right there. Hi, God. So try not to have this idea of what it is you're supposed to feel or experience, and just be like a 5-year-old, right? You're just like this brand new kid and you're so curious about things, right? When I am connected to God, I cannot feel Yeshua. Yeah, I feel both. pretty simultaneously, but kind of depends. Okay, any other questions? Thank you. I appreciate your expression, how you share your perspectives as a result of your experiences, your observations, your actions, or lack of action. Thank you for sharing with us how you are experiencing this path choice. Thank you, Claire. Appreciate it. Is a gut feeling one of these external signs, or does it stem from desire? Gut feeling. Good question. Very good question. It could be, so when you have that gut feeling, it could be both. It could be a desire, and it could also be a sign. It could be a sign, and it could just be desire. So both and or one. We have to get curious around. Okay, so I'll give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I started to get this hit, this gut feeling that I was getting called to go to a lake and to sit at a lake. I got the vision of it. I just heard kind of God say almost, go to a lake. But I didn't know if it was like a hit from God or if it was my own intuition wanting to just get away and go to a lake, right? Because I can kind of tend to do that sometimes. It's just like, just run and go somewhere else, Lori, for a little while. So I sat with what was coming up for me. I was like, is this a desire of like just me doing another thing that I do, which is running somewhere else? Or is this God guiding me, right? Is this a sign? So what I did, which is what I do in life, is I stayed open to it. And I just stayed curious with, I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to stay open, which means I'm going to allow things to happen if it happens. I didn't close it off and say, no, that's not the right thing to do. And I didn't say, oh God, show me more, please. I need to figure this out. I just was curious, wasn't quite sure. And then yesterday, I got another hit, like, oh, or maybe it was 2 days ago. Like I got this feeling, intuition feeling that said, go to Idaho. And I was like, oh, this is travel, go to Idaho, go on a road trip. And I was like, oof. And again, trying to figure out, is this just Lori wanting to get away, or is there a deeper calling? So again, the way that I do everything is I get real curious and I kind of am like peeling it apart. So I start feeling into driving, packing my car. Do I go tomorrow? Do I go the next day? Do I go next week? Like what feels right? What's happening here? And I'm peeling things apart, right? I'm getting real curious. Is this a hit from God? Is this my intuition? Is this just Lori doing Lori? And so this morning, after I did the class, I'm not trying to be anything other than the Lori character, right? I'm not trying to be a certain way, like, oh, I better do this the way God wants, or I'm just doing what arises, right? That's key. Just be with what's arising. So I'm like researching, how long does it take to drive? Where would I stay? What would this look like? I get curious. I'm open. I'm receptive. And then I get this hit, within an hour of like doing some research. It was like, oh, why don't you drive to Boise or fly to Boise, Idaho? And I was like, well, that's weird. But I mean, that makes sense. I'll fly to Boise, Idaho. I'm sharing all this because this is how things unravel many times in our lives, right? If we're open to it. Otherwise, we'll just shut it down and go on and we will miss the wink. So I start to say, well, let me look at flights. And then I'm like, well, I had this idea that I wanted to go to this one place in Idaho. And then all of a sudden, the next thing I know, I'm like researching landing in Boise and then driving to this one place. And then I got this hit to look for places around Boise, like lodges. Lori, look at lodges. So I don't ever judge anything. I just I do what I feel next. I research. If you judge too much, if you critique too much, it'll stop you. So just stay open. Like, okay, I'm going to Google lodges in the Boise area. And the first one that popped up was this lodge on a lake in this town, like 3 hours north of Boise. And the moment I saw the lake, I was like, oh my God. Now, whether I ever go there or not doesn't matter to me. I may go, I may not go. What I enjoy more is that I'm learning how to follow these little hits, and then boom, randomly out of the blue, I felt, oh, this is the lake that God was guiding me to. Interesting. This is 100% the lake God was guiding me to. I never would have known this was the lake. I never but I unraveled it piece by piece just by letting what was coming to me be explored. What a lot of people do is they're like, you're not going to travel. You're not going to get in a car to Idaho, and you just push it aside, right? Or you may say, you know, this is wrong. This is crazy. This is weird. We judge it. We critique it. We don't get curious and stay open. And in that open curiosity, co-creation with the unknown, I had no idea this would be the lake. I also don't have any idea whether I'm going or not, right? But I know for sure when I saw that lodge, which I don't even know how I found, that is what God planted in me 3 days ago, or 2 weeks ago, actually. But God didn't say, hey, this is the name of the lodge. This is the town. This is where you're going. You're going to fly. He didn't give me those details. It was breadcrumbs, these little breadcrumbs. And I had to be in so much trust of just playing with what's arising. I had no need to find an outcome. I legit was looking at places on a river 3 hours ago. I was not looking at lakes. I wasn't thinking to myself, oh, 2 weeks ago, God said I should go to a lake, so I need to find that lake. I didn't do that. I let that just be what it was. And I was literally looking at places on this river, like one of my favorite rivers in the whole world. That's where I was like, oh, I'll fly into Boise and I'll drive to that river and I'll stay in a cabin at that river. Then I heard, look for lodges around Boise. I did that. Then I saw the lodge on the lake and I put 2 and 2 together. That's how God works. So it literally wasn't until the moment I saw the lodge on the lake that I realized that that was where God was trying to get me. 30 minutes before that, I was thinking I was going to a river. So this is how God works. It's in literally the unknown. And so it's a practice all the time of learning how to stay receptive, open, curious, non-attached, no right, no wrong. No, I shouldn't. No, it should look like this, it should look like that. No critiquing. Just that, and I don't know how to pronounce your name, not Nodir. Just having the question of, is this gut feeling an external sign or does it stem from desire? Just having that question is already you being open, receptive, curious. If you don't have that question, you want to start having those questions, because that is the openness. Right? If you don't have that question, then you're in a sense, you're closed off. You're not even getting curious with it. Don't you just want to know? Wow, is this intuition? Is this an external wink from God? Is this my desire that I'm trying to just fulfill? What's going on here? That's the science, like that's the energetic scientist. You're becoming a scientist in this energetic world, breaking out of the real conditioned ways of being. So that's I don't know if that helps, but that is a real beautiful, I think, example of, is this, an external sign, or is this desire of like, I just want to get away? And balancing that, which is essentially balancing your creation and God's creation, right? Because I had to take action to start planning to go to Idaho if that's really what I want to do. So I had to let that desire lead me, but then I had to also follow the hit. Type this in. And I'm really good at listening to type this in. Like if God says to me, go on YouTube and look at this person's channel for a second, I will do it. I don't question. I just do what I hear all the time. A lot of you will say, well, I don't hear anything. It's not a loud voice that I hear. You do hear. You just don't realize that what you think is just your own mind is what I hear also, but I follow it. I actually just follow what I hear. You hear things and then you judge it and critique it and make it wrong or bad or whatever. The only difference between you and me is that I just follow the instant. That hit that said look up a lodge in Boise, it was so subtle and quiet, it came and went like this. I could have missed it. So I don't believe that people don't hear. I believe that people don't listen. And it goes in, they just let it move through like another thought. Because if you can hear thought, then you're hearing. And we all hear thought 24/7. And all a hit is God winking to you through thought. So God winks. God gives you clues through thought. It sounds like a thought. Go do this real fast. Go look this up, right? But we're like, oh, that's so stupid. Or we don't even, that's why, in my opinion, distraction right now is so freaking detrimental. Because the more we are distracted by all these loud external things, the harder it is to hear God. Because all we're doing is hearing everybody else's voices from all these devices that we're on and videos we're watching and reels that we're hearing. And it's just so obnoxiously loud that we don't even recognize God's own voice trying to speak to us. Oh, I'll definitely reach out if I go. Kayla. Yeah, I think it's going to happen, but we'll see. All right. Anyone else before we get going? 2-hour webinar of beautiful, juicy knowledge. If you're just joining, go back and listen, take notes. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. Let me know what you're confused on. Let me know what resonates deeply. Our next live is, let me look. Our next live is on Wednesday, 3 p.m., our book club. I believe we're on chapter 4. And we are also starting 40 days, an invitation with God on that same day, the 23rd. So if you want to join us, Invitation with God. It's 40 days, every single day, sitting with God, 8 a.m. California time for about 30 to 40 minutes. We have coupon codes if you can't afford it. Reach out to us. Taylor will give you the link to sign up with all the details and codes if you need them for discounts. Join us. It's going to be pretty epic. 40 freaking days. I have never done anything for 40 days. I'm in. I'm ready. I'm ready for like a next leveling up. You know, I'm ready for a deeper commitment to God, a deeper surrendering to that divine state. I'm ready. I'm really ready. Thank you, Lindsay. And I hear the voice, I think, but it feels like it reaches me in my body. Yes. I think that happens for a lot of people. They feel it in the body and not the mind, which is great. Probably better. It's easier maybe to decipher when you feel it in the body. With thoughts being frequently infiltrated, is it then a difference in feeling when God thoughts winks come in? Yeah, 100% you'll feel the difference. Yeah, you want to just start deciphering. So you just want to get real curious with the thoughts. You want to get real curious with what's happening in the mind, for some of us in the body, and just get curious, 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 curious. Thanks, Tina. All right, you guys, I love you so much. I hope this was useful and beneficial in some way. Thank you for being a part of SOAR. I really, really, really appreciate it. I hope you can join us for 40 days. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday for our live book club, chapter 4, and perhaps even for the first day of 40 days. All right, take care and see you soon. Lots of love.